Egyptian bill to jail wife beaters reignites religious debate. So in Egypt, on February 1st, Amal Salama, a female lawmaker, proposed to the Egyptian parliament that the penalty for wife beating should be increased. According to Salama, the current penal code in Egypt does not provide, quote, appropriate penalties for domestic violence. Currently, there is no law that specifically criminalizes domestic abuse against women. Salama is proposing imprisonment of up to 5 years for domestic violence. This bill reignited conversation in the Arab-speaking world about the religious proclamations on wife beating, and specifically focused on comments made by Ahmed Al-Tayeb, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar Mosque and the former president of Al-Azhar University, one of the world's most important centers of thought for Sunni-Islam. Al-Tayeb had stated in a TV show 2 years prior that, quote, wife beating is not an imposition or sunnah, but it is permissible to confront the disobedient wife and break her pride in order to preserve the family. Mabrouk Attia, a professor at Al-Azhar University, also opposed the proposed legislation, stating that, quote, wife beating is fixed in the Quran and Sunnah with specific controls.
Yeah, I mean, wife beating is one of the most clear Islamic teachings in the Quran, not even in the Hadith. Like, anybody who tells you otherwise is either lying to you or like they're completely ignorant about. Like, this is like one of the clearest commandments in the Quran. It doesn't even say that you're allowed to beat your wife. It commands you to beat your wife. If they're being disobedient, but if you fear them being disobedient, right? Like, there's two other things you have to try first, which is giving them the silent treatment is the first method, and then you kick them out of bed, and that's the second attempt. But if you still fear disobedient, the Quran clearly, anybody that tries to translate this otherwise is full of shit. Okay, clearly tells you that you have to beat them if those two other things don't work, right? So how are they justifying this in Egypt? Because this is like going against Al-Azhar's University, going against Islam. This is a clear Islamic teaching. So making that illegal, wouldn't that be un-Islamic? Like, how's that working out?
That's basically the origin of a lot of people's attitudes towards opposing this kind of thing. There was some opposition about the draft law because it at first was specifically about violence against women, which is unconstitutional, which is supposed to be equality of sexes before the law. Like, I agree with that fully. That's a different matter. But in terms of getting this on the table in general, in terms of preventing violence against women, here's a quote, but there are still a lot of hurdles for the amendment to succeed. Already, some have argued that non-severe beatings by men for the purpose of disciplining their wives must remain. Like, that is clearly an attitude coming from the teachings of the Quran. I also said there are quotes from the National Council of Women from Egypt that indicate that 80 million Egyptian women are subject to violence, and a further 86% of wives are subject to beatings, a report by the Egypt Independent quoted her as saying 86%. So clearly this kind of legislation is needed.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a good thing for like so for people who don't know this, Al-Azhar University is like, I don't know if there's any, when it comes to Sunni Islam, I don't know if there's any higher authority. I know like some people don't agree with it. Like, I'm not saying every Sunni Muslim but it is, I can't think of any higher authority in the Sunni world when it comes to religious rulings, right? And commentary. Like, not even like the imam, like, or the preachers in like Medina or Mecca are not even that high, you know what I mean? Especially given that the Saudi influence on whatever happens over there, right? So this is like the most, so I think there is some value in getting this on record that Al-Azhar University is pro-wife beating, right? Because we want to make sure people understand what Islam teaches. Like, is it a surprise to people that like people who want to misrepresent the Quran as this book that doesn't have these evil things in it. Like, yeah, sure, you're right. And Al-Azhar University, the institution that is responsible for understanding and teaching and declaring fatwas and declaring commentary on all things Islamic, the main source of authority, they are wrong and you're right. Okay, you, this reformist Muslim who is now being influenced by a modern way of thinking and modern understanding of morality, and being influenced by all these progressive forces into not wanting wife beating to be a thing. You have understood the translation of the Quran more than these people who have spent their entire, for the past 1300 years, microanalyzing every single goddamn dot in the Quran, right? So sure. So it's good that they come. Like, I'm glad that these rules are being added, and I'm glad that Al-Azhar University is coming and exposing, like, is making it, reminding the entire world what Islam stands for, right? I also do want to acknowledge, I do want to mention, like, some of the justifications you see Muslims have for wife beating. They really, like, the excuse they have for this is that this actually does preserve the family, right? They think, like, whatever harm that you could experience from wife beating is insignificant compared to the harm of families breaking apart, right?
Oh
And they
my
think,
God.
like, yeah, they're saying, like, look at these other modern Western families where they're going through divorce, and, like, I've, like, think about the kids and all the harm that is coming from all this divorce and families. Like, what's a little bit of wife beating if it prevents all of that? It prevents all of
Okay.
that. So that's what that's what they
People
say.
who
That's
have
their
that
excuse.
attitude, like, that's freaking insane. Like, people who have
Mhm.
grown up with violence in their home, the terror that they experience from being surrounded by violence of their home, probably the vast majority of them would be like, I would much rather prefer that my home would have been broken than experience the visceral terror that literally changes the way your brain physically operates for the rest of your life, literally can stunt your development. Like, I think they would trade having a broken home over going through that trauma and dealing with the implications of that and the effects it's going to have on their ability to form relationships for the rest of their life over, like, the supposed consequences. That's insane.
Yeah, let's look at these highlighted comments. Okay, this was insane. I have to
This is
highlight this because
insane.
read this.
Kiki is saying, while I support measures to protect women in Egypt, don't you think there's a possibility it could turn into a tool for misandry? Tool for man hatred?
Okay,
You
misandry is
really
man
think that's
hatred.
gonna be much of a freaking problem in Egypt where they can't even agree to put this on, like, to begin with?
I
Like, these
think,
things are
Kiki, I
so
think
stacked.
you're
Do you understand the violence that women in Egypt go through? The environment is not suited to allow for those kinds of attitudes. Oh
wait,
my God. I need my friends that grew up there to, like, come in here
wait.
because it's, like, crazy.
So, Kiki, you think, like, having laws that prevents men from beating their wives, you're more worried about people, like, oh, if this is gonna make people hate men? Like, I mean, wouldn't your comment make more people hate men? Like, I think you're promoting men hatred more than what do you I think the idea that you're like, okay, women being beaten is a bad thing, but what about men being hated? So I think your comment is like, is promoting, is a tool for misandry, because people who think like that is going to make more people think, like, well, fuck men's feelings. Like, what are you talking, like, that is, you're promoting misandry. Kiki, you're promoting misandry. Isn't this like a tool for misandry, like this kind of attitude? When somebody
Oh, it
thinks
makes
about,
people turn their heads and say, what the fuck is going on over there, for sure? Like, Kiki, then you're saying, I'm aware of that, Susanna. I was worried that it could turn against men. Look at India. Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to with this, Kiki, but if you are referring to the current fight to criminalize marital rape in India right now, because your comment sounds exactly like the attitudes of the people who oppose the criminalization of marital rape, saying you're criminalizing marriage, you're promoting misandry against men. It's like, what do you... This is assault. This is about criminalizing assault. Like I said in the beginning, this proposed law has to constitutionally apply to both sexes, right? This isn't like...
Look, Hindu to Susanna is saying the same thing.
Oh my God!
Okay, read this one.
I can't even articulate myself fully.
What is happening? Read this one.
Dupa Susanna is saying, hope women don't exploit such laws against innocent men like the dowry law of the Penal Code, IPC 498A.
Okay, guys, I'm pretty sure, like, if you like, hey, we should make murder illegal, okay? And if your first thought is like, I hope people don't misuse this law against people who haven't committed murder, I mean, your priorities are not in the right place, okay? Obviously, any law that we have that is supposed to protect people, any misuse of it should be avoided. But you obviously are going to need the goddamn law to protect people, okay? So I don't know what this... Okay, Susanna, you have lost it.
Oh my God.
What happened?
I'm losing my mind right now. Saying marital rape is a hazy problem. I don't think criminalizing it will help India. Sorry to say, the Indian government did the right thing there.
Wow.
So you don't want India to join the fucking 21st century and criminalize this? Oh my God.
Okay, Kiki, you just came out as pro-rape. You just came out as pro-rape. Kiki, congratulations. You just came out as pro-rape. Jesus Christ. So, guys, actually, marital rape should be high, like one of the highest priorities of rapes that people, because that's your victim is trapped in your house. Okay, so I don't understand how people think like marital rape is less serious than other kinds of rape. It happens more often than other kinds of rape, and the society doesn't condemn it as much. As, like, imagine having your victim forced to be living with you, and you are repeating it all over and over and over and over again. That is actually a worse kind of rape compared to other like instances where it might happen once and you're not trapped inside a prison with your rapist. And it's not similar to the other ones where like society was like, oh, you should just accept giving in to your rapist. They don't do that with other kinds of rape. It should be criminalized. This is like the worst instances of rape is usually marital rape. Why are you guys defending rape? What the fuck is happening? Unbelievable. This is disgusting.
Oh my God. Okay, so Bulbul is saying, you think men are the victims in India? India has one of the worst rates of violence against women. Like, it's a step forward. Like, I'm not saying, oh my God. In situations like this, in any law, there will be issues of misuse with any law. That doesn't mean that the protections that it will afford people are worth throwing out the window because it has the potential to be misused. What about the potential to save lives?
Yeah, actually, guys, legalize fraud, because some people might be innocent and be a victim of this fraud, anti-fraud laws. It legalize everything. Legalize murder, apparently, because some people might be innocent and get charged with murder. So why have that law? Just legalize it, right? What the... Yeah. Anyways,
saying criminalizing it won't help. How are people supposed to get justice against the people who harm them if there is nothing standing in the law books that allows them to address their grievances?
Criminalizing rape won't help. Criminalizing rape will not. Are you listening to yourself, Kiki? Criminalizing rape won't help. What are you talking about? By the way, Mustafa is like telling everybody to please. Thank you, Mustafa. Like we said, we use the word rape like a million times now in this stream. So YouTube is going to bury this video. Like this video is not going to go anywhere. So please make sure you like this video to like fight the algorithm a little bit. Thank you, Mustafa, for reminding it. And yeah, also Katie is saying, because criminalizing marital rape will end the institution of marriage. You know what? Fuck the institution of marriage if it's pro-rape, if it means like you get to kidnap somebody.
The bar is so low tonight. Holy shit.
No, but Katie is making fun of it. This is in quotations.
I know, but just like,
just
it's just a reflection. Oh my God.
Yes, yeah. Like, you know what? Fuck marriage if it means that you get to kidnap somebody and like have the entire society endorse you raping them constantly. You know what? We're better off not having marriage at all if that's what marriage is supposed to mean. Jesus Christ. Like, you know, people are saying like we should be worried about innocent men. Yeah, you could be worried about innocent men that are getting charged, but if you are throwing away 100 times victims of rape under the bus for a small percentage of innocent men, like you could deal with protecting those innocent men after you have the law, but you can't just ignore women being raped because potentially some men are going to be innocently charged. We'll deal with that when that happens, but the law obviously has to be there. Are you guys have lost your minds? Oh my God. All right, never mind.
Kiki seems to think that if they had sex before, like it suddenly is like not a thing. Kiki, if like most of the countries in the world have figured out a way to establish this and set it into law for decades, I can't figure out why India can't do it too, when other countries have clearly delineated this and been able to enforce it.
Like you're saying, we know a rape for sure. We know it's a rape for sure, but marital rape is harder to nail. Well, it becomes easier when you start. Like the first step is to getting it done is to criminalize it. I'm sure you could manage that. Okay, Jesus, I'm gonna stop. Let's stop. Like, oh, it's hard. Okay, so let's not even get started because it's hard. So you're actually making justifications for why it needs to be criminalized. So you create the process of actually fighting it because it wouldn't get easier if it's not even a fucking crime. Okay.
So, no, this is an important question. Rajesh is saying there's already a law against domestic violence, right? Why not use that law in the case of marital rape? And Bulbul, a literal lawyer, is saying because rape is an exception to marriage is an exception to the rape law itself.
Yeah,
so that's what we're trying to address. Is a loophole.
Ruj is saying there already law against domestic violence, right? Why not use that law? Because they don't consider it domestic violence, because they think because that law against domestic violence doesn't work, because apparently if you rape your wife, that is not legally considered by them to be domestic violence. That's why you need to change it, that no, this is actual rape. So it is domestic violence. So now the law applies.
Oh, another good fact from Bulbul, our legal source, saying currently men can rape their wives if the wife is above 15 years old in India. That's the exception being challenged. 15.
Wow.
It just keeps getting worse. I swear to God. Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. Link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe. Link in the description below.